Strike a Chord podcast. Music chit chat with your hosts Valentina Gikowski and Amla Piriakaba.
Hey everyone, welcome to Strike a Chord podcast. We have the wonderful Elliott Treves here. Elliott is a jack of all trades, I want to say, and beyond. I don't even know where to start. I've met him through music on an app called Insight Timer, where I would say he's a public figure / musician / sound healer / face painter, which I just found out. / artist. We'll go into it in more detail, but for now, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you,
welcome.
guys.
Welcome. Such a pleasure to have you on the podcast and being part of it. This is a different side of the music chit chat and the other side of the musicianship, and it's all about the well-being, and the healing, which we're very much into, and we want to know more about what you do, because we have a lot of things here today.
We do. We really do.
Brought in tea and some dried fruits and everything, and we've also got
chocolate
as well, and
the plant
wave, which we'll
get
that
into. Sounds groovy. What's that?
It does. It does. So again, welcome. So Elliott, where did it all start? How did you get into the spiritualism, I suppose, and the sound healing, and where did it all start? Where did the convergence start? Where did it sort of click to say, all right, this is what I do, this is me?
Good question. If you're asking where the spirituality movement came from in my life, that was from early on in my life. Spending time in nature, alone, with animals, insects, trees, tree forts. Friends came later for me, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I didn't have too many friends when I was really young, so I was spending a lot of time in nature, just exploring.
So you would have been well grounded.
And there was so many things that I saw and I sensed and I came to know out there. So that nature aspect, excuse me, is really big for me. And that's why I really vibed with Native American spirituality from the start.
That's a good segue. So
because they were the people around that showed the wisdom of the land, of knowing how deep you can go with the physicality of life to transcend into another level.
There's that common thing with Aboriginal as well, like the people of the land, and they have the same sort of respect for the land, and this is where we should have the same, I think, because this is where we all come from. We all come from there, right?
Yeah, and everyone's gonna have their own way of expressing that connection, which is the cool thing. You know, no matter how much you want to try to block out the individualistic aspect, you know, you can't deny that we're all trying to seek, yes, the same thing.
So true.
But that journey there is a very personal journey. And that's something that we can hold dear and help guide us in our life.
100%.
You know, to bring that authentic, I'm on a quest feeling, like I have something to do in this lifetime. Let me do it. I need to do this.
That's where we are at the moment.
You nailed it. If I'm on a quest, we say, what is the why?
Yeah.
What is the
why?
The why.
Yeah.
And why is like such a big question that ultimately comes down to just a single point.
Yeah.
Which then explodes into a bunch of possibilities and new directions and things,
and
right?
That's where you start, you know, the why becomes that where do I go from here?
And how?
How? Yeah. So true. It's a different perception coming from that angle. Whereas a lot of people come from the other angle where, you know, it's all work oriented. I have to do this, or I have to do that to do this, to get finances, or one or the other. And I think people, they forget about how they feel, and they lose that contact with their own selves to say, well, what do I really want? What makes me happy? How do I connect? How do I reconnect back? And I think that's very important to get back into there, and whether it's nature, whether it's art, whether it's sound healing, or whether it's something, it's that why, and that you said that then it explodes to all these other things.
Yeah. And because that spiritual aspect became like ingrained into my experience earlier on, later in life, it just felt like it needed to be expressed in some way.
Yeah.
So whether I was a gothic kid growing up in like a rural area of California with no one really to relate to but a few people, and just completely rebelling out, or whether I was, studying music and, trying to learn how to read music and do everything with music theory, it was like a completely different shift in my life. I still, in those different phases, was trying to understand where is that spiritual expression in life. So it's naturally led me to teaching and to sharing experiences for people to get in touch with that, to get in touch with that inner presence that's the other side of all the doing, of the checklists and the activity and the creating of that stuff.
Yeah.
But how you can create something for yourself so that no matter what you do or where you go, you're doing it in a certain way that you want.
Yeah.
That you find right for yourself. And everyone has a path to understanding what is right for themselves.
Yeah. And I think on top of that, I think you need to be aware of it. You need to be aware and open. If you're not, and we've all been in that thing where it's just, we're hammering it through, we're not aware of what's going on. You become aloof, you become, like a robot. But once you open up and you think, oh, hang on, there's another path, there's something else, and you start connecting those dots, and you start thinking, you become a happier self. You become something that is on a different level. You start vibrating on a different level, on a different frequency, on a different, you start that law of attraction. You start talking to these people, and you start meeting these wonderful people, and you start thinking, oh, this is such a good path, and you start feeling, joy and everything like that. But you were saying you started to read music and everything like that. How did that lead you into sound healing? Where was the path from musically? How did that journey start? Was that from the reading of music?
Really gradually, because it just started with using the voice. I just started noticing that during the live streaming sessions during COVID, that there was all this opportunity to connect with the voice. The voice became this huge like tool of transmission. I could change my voice in a number of different ways to produce different environments, experiences for people. And I just thought, why isn't everyone practicing some form of nada yoga, or at least using their voice to connect with everything? Because your voice is so connected with everything else that's going on inside of you. Think about how all your expression is, in this.
It's a representation
area.
sometimes, isn't it? Even of how you're feeling.
Yeah, that's right.
When you're feeling a bit,
and giving yourself something to do that is about becoming something, it just gives you that opportunity whenever you want. And if you make it a practice, it really shows that you're a piece of creation, and not this thing that's trying to go against creation.
Yeah, I totally understand. And the other thing is, the voice is always with you. It's the one instrument, the one tool that's always with you, and it's that thing that can also be used as quite a profound tool and an effective tool, and also quite powerful, because your voice can be that thing where it affects others. As you were saying, like you can use it for good and evil, right? But you can use it to transmit, and those things can be quite powerful and quite intriguing sometimes as well.
I think it's really important that people feel in some way in control of their exploration of creating, of the act of creation. Because when people aren't present or taking an active role in the act of creation, they're missing out on life. They're missing out on what life is for.
So true.
So you see a lot of elderly people just going straight down sometimes because they've just lost the ability to create something and to do something with themselves so that they feel they're moving forward still in some way. So it's like you don't want time to wear you down on this path of spirituality, because you want the experience of time now to be enhanced by that awareness that you're talking about, which allowed you to start manifesting, allowed you to start gaining precious experiences for life.
So a question for you: what happens on the other side of the coin where you've got too much going on and you want to do all this creative stuff? You want to try and do this and try and do that, because creatives do get that down that point. And I'm looking at you because you do this a fair bit, you know.
Oh, look, I'm trying to go into nature once a week to reground. But it's a good
Nature's a good place.
So how would you? What's your approach? By the way, this smells fantastic. Thank you for
cheers
to life.
To voice.
It's fantastic. Thank you for bringing all the stuff as well. It's fantastic.
Thank you for the cake. I can't wait to try that. I love cake.
You can try it whenever you like, whenever you want.
Thank you.
I'm keen on getting back to this question now. So how would you? What would be the advice that you'd give someone who's a creative they're looking at, whether it's an artist or musician or whatever, where they're thinking of all these things that they want to do, and then in the end, nothing gets done because there's just too much going on? What would be your advice?
You really want your mind to be your friend. And if your objective is to create a lot of stuff and to be super productive and to create some of the best, can I swear?
Of course you can.
Best damn fucking work of your life.
By the way, damn here is not a swear word.
Yeah, I was about to say, that
was my backup word.
It's way too soft.
Word B.
Yeah.
Word A was fucking.
Yeah.
Love it. Just put them both in because you guys gave me free permission. So it's important that everything is aligned with that. And your awareness is going to allow you to align more stuff. So how you practice your sense of awareness and your going forward with awareness, expanding it, because your awareness is like a light bulb.
Yep.
You turn that light bulb up. Remember the ones that dimmed?
Yep. I remember those ones.
Those ones were good.
Yeah.
Mood lighting.
Yeah, with the dial.
Yeah. Ooh, it's getting dark. Those, our awareness gets ramped up and we're able to perceive more things to consider, to work into our practice of creation.
Yep.
Of creating this life, of creating this experience that you're having.
Yep.
And so that's really important that people take part in that. And when we do that on a daily basis, it's very beneficial to our minds. Because you need a way to entrain the mind.
Yep.
So this is why I play around with the plant wave. This is why I make binaural beats. This is why I create soundscapes for people to journey with, fall asleep to, do certain types of yoga to.
Yep.
Lots of things, because I love to give people the opportunity to practice entraining their minds.
Yep.
Because if you entrain your mind with a certain beat, certain rhythm, a certain pulse, a certain melody, whatever, that information creates something for you to latch onto and work with.
Yeah.
And so giving people just enough, but not giving them too much to the point where their mind is now racing even more.
Yeah.
So you bring people to a level where their brain waves are literally going at a different frequency range.
Yep.
And they're able to take in information completely differently. So for me, switching, like you're asking, from meditation work to sound healing work, it was very natural because it started with just the voice. Hey, how can you get your voice to do this? Let's do this now.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you get people acting in that creation with their own voice, which is such a powerfully expressive tool, they realize, oh crap, I have like this ability to create sound and whatever kindness. I can make it warm, I can make it brittle, I can make it all these different textures. And so that moved me into working with different instruments and thinking of something like plant wave. How could I combine that with crystal singing bowls and flute?
So I'm like, you were going to say something before? No?
Oh, I don't remember. I'm in the present moment.
You are? Well,
that was so 2 hours ago.
Yes. So true. I wasn't aware of it. I should be more aware. But I'm going to bring you back into the conversation because of the vocals and I see you're singing much more now.
Yes.
How do you relate to, what Elliott just said? How do you find? Do you find that it's changed your way of not only being a musician but as a person? Has it changed?
Definitely. I feel like it's definitely opened up more expression and confidence within myself. I was always scared to, and even how you started this podcast, I think it's a similar thing. This holding back, like I've been holding back a lot with my own music and the singing, even though I still get quite nervous with it. It's allowing me to, I feel like there's still a bit of a block there, but by working with the voice, I'm doing a lot of humming as well at the moment. And I'm finding that that's really, I feel that's so powerful with creating a resonance within the body, just things like that. And I'm doing a lot of humming in my soundscapes. Like I've got a show tonight and I'm going to be singing quite a bit. And I would have to say it's definitely helped me to feel more comfortable and confident and more expressive with my music now. I feel like I'm creating some really cool sounds now. It's trusting, that inner trust as well, which comes from experimenting and playing with the voice. I think I was too attached to my voice being a certain way or sounding a certain way, and that's prevented me from actually
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah. Oh, I heard you sing 2 weeks ago. I'm going to bring it to you. And you have a fantastic voice.
But I'm always behind the instrument. I've always got that thing. And that's why I found it very interesting now.
Yes.
That the voice, that's where it all starts.
It all starts. And
we all have that when we're born. We come out crying, right? So this is where it starts. But we tend to, I'm speaking for myself now, we tend to go into this, once you learn an instrument, we tend to go into this, behind this curtain. And for me, my dad was a singer and he was a very good singer. And I could never live up to that as a singer. And this is where it's a psychological thing too. It's like, but I found that my comfortable, place was behind the guitar and I made that sing, right? But it's a different thing. The voice is so powerful and you use it every day for those who can, right?
Yeah.
And we don't really put anything to it. We just use it, but it's so powerful. Like when you yell at a person, or you talk, or you whisper to a person, or you bring out the emotions, and everything is derived from that.
Yeah, absolutely. And chanting, for instance, Om is so incredibly good for the system because you're using this whole apparatus of the voice, but using the energy of the body to go up to that and literally go up. And that kind of wave is like a massage for the system, and you just can go to other places where you understand now how things are, really. When you become nothing, you realize how expansive this experience can be.
So true. And you see that when performers, especially singers, when they're on stage and they're singing, they transcend to a different place.
They take you with them too.
But I wanted to mention, we had another guest on the podcast. No. Laura, who's a speech pathologist.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
And she was explaining sort of the mechanics and the science behind it. But now that you're saying this, it all marries up and it all becomes one, I think, because it's, as you mentioned, the apparatus that we use, it needs to be connected to something, right? So I think that thing that it's connected to, like when I sing, it's connected to something that I'm not sure of, the insecurities, So it's connected to something. And you were saying about that even the when you're meditating, I think it just opens up everything, and you're just there, and there's nothing else.
It's because you're tapping into the programming of what you are. So
and
instead of
break
going,
that programming,
I'm yelling and therefore I'm using my voice to do this thing at this person, and that's what's happening.
True.
No, I'm going to come down to a level where there's nothing happening, and then I'm going to start creating a sound from a place within me that I am directing, that I'm choosing where it's going to go. And because I'm doing it through this sound of creation within this physical form, that's just aligning your intention. And so with the sound healing stuff, it's great because I've felt people's intention so strong before in meditation. I thought how to use sound in a more sophisticated way to use that to transform.
So in a targeted sort of way, am I correct?
Absolutely, yeah. Because with intention and sound, there is a potential for healing.
Yeah. So
conscious healing.
Yeah. So tell us a bit about that. Your sound healing and your I suppose your experiences as well. How has it affected people? How has it affected you? How has the journey been up until now? Because there's still a lot more, right? But at this present moment, up until this present moment, how has the journey been?
There seems to be lifetimes of work to do and lifetimes of knowing things. There's been times when I've experienced someone transform during a session, and it's because of what's happening. It's because of what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And when energy shifts, when your level of sensitivity is very high for these things and you're really tuned into what's happening, how a human is created and operating just naturally, their energies. Sound allows you to tap into that very subtle sense of this gross body, this very physical thing. So when you're tuning someone, for instance, with the sound healing instruments, you're getting all this creative stuff happening. And I'm very, comfortable with that. I'm very comfortable with the creative aspect of being a musician, a performer, a producer, engineer. So this is all just a playground, but it's a sacred playground. Yeah. It's a very sacred playground of where energy is going and wanting to go and needing to go. And so certain things have to be moved. And I know sometimes exactly, where that is. And I can feel it. And the person, the human being is expressing it in some way.
Yeah.
We're also hiding it many times as well. So it becomes tricky. But that journey of becoming so genuine with them on the journey of healing so that they know I'm holding them absolutely on this journey towards healing. And whatever needs to happen is what needs to happen. And the sooner we all accept that, the sooner we can all go pooh and just leap.
It's so important to have someone there to actually when you're going through that journey, because if like yourself, you're guiding them and you're there that's their safety net. Because can you imagine if there isn't, it can go down a different path, at a very bad path.
And I wonder about all the people like that too. During the pandemic doing these sound healing experiences online.
Yeah.
And they're there in their room, maybe set a really nice atmosphere. They're ready to go deep.
Yeah.
And they're just doing it on their own.
Yeah. It can be quite.
You come out of that, or you come out into a certain elevated emotional state, and you need to be grounded.
You do need to be grounded.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, for you to hold that space for them, you'd be healing on so many levels within yourself and reconnecting and re-healing any past, I guess, what's the word? reprogramming, on like a reincarnation almost, all the time. Well, I don't want to say all the time, but I feel like that's what we're doing essentially in this
I
life.
do sense into what you're saying a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel like from my perspective, having moved from a performance background into a different, performance art background, and then doing it with the spiritual aspect, it's like it adds a whole other layer of preparation. The preparation that goes into being a sound healer for me involves daily practice, connecting with sound, playing the instruments, getting my setup right, experimenting with things, grabbing sounds from nature, processing them, putting them onto my trigger pad, seeing how that sounds with this new soundscape. All these different things are part of the preparation, and spiritually, being prepared to lead in that kind of context where people are trusting the sound in a way that maybe they never have before. And I want to nail it. I want people to feel the power of sound
it's
and
very
intention merging together. Because when you create that intention and connect with that and work with the sound, it's magic.
Of course.
It's magic, because the more you're able to trust that inside, the more it's able to go further. And so people realize, oh shit, after a few of these sound healing sessions, I'm starting to play a part in the creation of the healing.
Oh, most definitely.
Because now you start to become more conscious on the path. Oh, I want to work on this today, and I've already done that now. And like you're saying earlier about the experimentation, like I really feel it's so important for people, not just to create stuff in the world, but also to form that bond, that relationship with experimenting. Because the more that you play with ideas and things that are slightly just outside of your current
comfort zone,
zone of knowing and information flowing, you go beyond that a little bit every time, because you're creating that bond, that relationship with that experimentation.
It's funny you should mention that. I'm at that stage now where I'm going out of that circle. It's like finding new things and things that have been there, but you're only just discovering them. It could be a wonderful journey. It could be a really, really beautiful journey, but also a very very knowledgeable one. You're getting more knowledge, and you're getting more things that can make your life much better, much happier. Different sounds, different things, different aspects, and different approaches of creating that sound. It's like you were saying before, you go out into nature and you grab all these things and you're trying to make these sounds. And,
sound design is a big part of what I'm doing.
Yeah, I can imagine. But I suppose another question for you: how do you self-heal? Like, I know you give a lot of energy to a lot of people, and you're there for them at that particular thing, but it can become quite you can become quite inundated, and the energy can become quite powerful. And the reason I ask this, because I know with my wife, she's a Reiki practitioner, and she needs time to heal as well. So how do you go through that? Do you use the sound to actually heal yourself as well,
absolutely,
as a part of the whole process, or is it an array of things?
Yeah, it's definitely a combination. It's whatever the moment is really asking for. It could be right after a one-to-one sound healing session, and I could be very much like feeling the weight or the coating, if you will, of that energy. And I need to do certain things to cleanse that. And there's so many ways to do that. There's
but it's how you're feeling at that point.
It's how I'm feeling
at that certain point
in that moment, when I'm able to now create space, because the healing itself is like a coming together with a third entity. One and one coming together to make three involves the process of creation. And that's why 11 is so important. Because we think it's two, but things are actually quite magical in this world.
Yeah.
We can't explain anything.
Yeah,
we can explain
totally
nothing.
I totally agree with you there.
And so when
totally
you
agree.
put that together in a space and you're bringing light and channeling light into that situation, you need to then create space to go away and keep that sanctity and keep that together.
Yeah.
So afterwards, there's many ways that I use it. I use sound, I use things like the ocean.
Yep.
I use meditation, I use food, I use the whole world.
Yeah.
I know how I like to feel after I've done something like that. And so I search and I play and I explore. But yeah,
that's the best way of doing it.
Yesterday was food. I had an amazing soup.
Yeah.
I made an amazing soup after a session.
You had soup too.
Yeah, it's soup weather.
I made too.
It's soup weather. That out there? It's soup weather.
It's soup
for
weather.
Sure, I love it. I'm a big soup guy.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I relate to so much. I relate so much to what you're saying. And getting, the training. It's again training yourself and being that better version, right? And
building those habits.
Building those habits. Trying to break away from the programming.
Yeah.
Break away from those systematic approaches.
Those I guess it's just habits, right? We're just creating new habits. But it's great to hear what some of the things that you do to reconnect, or like to not so much reconnect. It sounds like you're already quite connected, but to, like you said, if the energy's lingering after a session.
Yeah, a big part of that for me is in my home when I'm working from home. There's the garden.
Yeah.
We have a garden. I'm grounding every day outside.
Garden is so amazing for that.
Yeah.
And going out there and tending to a few plants, harvesting a few things, tidying up a little bit here.
Even in the winter, you can
making sure the birds have water, making sure the worms are happy.
Yeah,
it just creates such a nice flow in one's life just to be connected with the nature, even if it's a small space, a small plot of land. That's big for me. I can literally just go outside and put my feet into the soil, put my hands there, and within 2 minutes I'm good.
Yeah.
And if there's a breeze, even better. I just get some breeze.
Well,
for breeze.
On that, and speaking of land, Navajo, this is where you connect from. So this is where it all started for you, I'm guessing. Is that right?
It was a really big moment. There was a really big moment, and it was a big chapter of my my journey.
Was that the awakening experience?
It was part of it, absolutely. I was craving some sort of guidance, and I was craving some sort of affirmation of truth in the world that could cut through all the darkness and the stuff that I had surrounded myself with and put inside of me. And I got it. And I got it from the Wolf Creek Indians of California. They opened up their arms, and they were such a generous tribe because they were working with people who had various number of, ailments and issues. So they were like, giving people the medicine of the land.
Jeez.
And so we had ritual and we did things, and my being was, back online, if you will. And I'd found, Buddhism and yoga, and they were resonating, but there was like something still kind of just disconnected. Things weren't really moving the way I wanted it to yet at all. And because of what I had been through with the addiction and the crazy stuff that I was doing, it was like I needed a full-blown reset. I needed a full tilt back to
is very important.
This is what it is, not
yeah.
And so it was just really such an amazing experience because I'd always been fascinated and loved everything about it. I collected arrowheads, I collected all the bones. I'd go and
you were a person of the land
stones.
As well. We all come from land, so that's why we have that connection. I think that's where it amplified for you, I think.
Yeah. So I was connected in spirit to the
Yeah.
land, and I was connected in spirit to these people. And I had experiences, you're going to think I'm crazy, but just walking through the woods and walking through the grasslands and everything, I would see stuff. I would see figures, and they were really powerful experiences, and there was always an animal with them.
Yeah.
So it was always like, whoa, animal world is very important.
Yeah.
And I loved that connection all the time, being connected with the animals, the creatures and the insects and everything. So that to me was just a part of the experience.
I think everyone should have that sort of an experience, really, because it just it opens up a different side to everything. Like, however,
what experience do you mean?
But your experience, connection to the nature, connecting to everything, because there's a lot of the concrete jungle out there.
I love when I hear about people taking kids and stuff out for hikes and stuff to show them things, because you just have to wonder all of the different implications and consequences of this. Children not being around nature, growing up, not having that full array of microbes and microorganisms and everything to be in contact with, and to make them strong and healthy in their bodies.
Definitely.
And even just for their mind to see those patterns around them, those, everything in our world is so structured and so, and nature is
not
like, we're really lucky here in Melbourne to have so many beautiful parks and trees, but it's really important to get out of the city and explore nature and get connected like that.
Well, I remember as a kid, we used to go on picnics and outings all the time, and I found a connection with waterfalls. Like, whenever you go to the waterfalls, I'd be really excited, and see the waterfalls. You can see it. You go up to the top of where it starts, and you can just see the process and how it all. And the water was so cold. You put your hand in there, and it's a different experience altogether. And I think that for me, growing up, that is when we used to go out, and that was my picture. It's just the waterfall of something so beautiful, but yet so powerful. Can be, it can change the way you think of things as well. Like, what survives here and what doesn't survive. It's a different,
such a refreshing experience going into a waterfall. Like, it feels like it could be a rebirth or something for you if you wanted it to.
It's part of the mystery of, like, even yesterday I needed a timeout, so hopefully my work doesn't watch this. I pretended to be sick and didn't go in. Shout out to Lakeside College. Anyway,
unzipped.
I went into nature, and it's just amazing. Again, the power of nature. And literally my mind just completely just shifted, and everything I was just like, oh, it was just quiet. And then you just really tune in. You forget, like, all we really need is that just a little moment in nature, like you said, even 2 minutes. It can really reset. It's a reset. It's all reconnection. Even
because
the
our bodies know there's a wisdom inside of this whole thing that we have called this body, and it knows exactly what we're from, what everything is. If we get our mind out of the way and overcome that compulsive tendency with the body, we can channel in. And so that's why I love that sound and working with nature by bringing that in, getting people. I do a session every week about that music.
Wow.
So, because I think the message is important. It's not that I'm playing this gadget and woo wee.
I mean, that's kind of cool too, though.
I do that a little bit. There's a few woos and wees, but I also just love explaining to people, like, this is how it works. There's rhythms happening in nature. There's rhythms happening in every single living thing throughout the day. It's changing, and it's like a heartbeat.
Correct.
And so that's translating the heartbeat into music.
So
we can and I connect with consciousness, mindfulness already by explaining that to them in such a way they're starting to get tuned in.
You know why that is? I'll tell you why. Because it's something tangible. To someone, it's very hard to people who are in that system, in the systematic approach, and you talk about all these things that it's about your mind, but they don't see anything tangible. when they see something like this that's tangible and they can see it and they can hear it, it's a different. They put a different perspective on it, and I think that's a great thing. I think it's a wonderful thing because it shows that there is life here. There's more than this just what's happening.
Gives them that access.
Yeah.
Even just explain to people that it's the electricity
Yeah.
that it's picking up on.
We're full of
then they're like,
electricity,
what?
aren't we?
It has electricity?
Where do you plug it
And
in?
then you have to start explaining.
Can I charge my phone on this thing?
Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look at it. I mean, it's very. I'm very intrigued.
Jinx.
You're on the same page.
Always are.
So it's really nice packaging. You just pull this guy out. I charged it this morning. That's the device, and you have electrodes.
I'll grab the device. I just want to.
And you put these electrodes, connect them to the plant. You've got these clampy ones. Clamp. You also got the pads.
Fantastic.
And
that just sits.
So that plugs into there. And that goes into the plant. Not into, but, well, you can put it into if it's a cactus or something. You don't mind. It will hurt the plant if you do that. So you want to try to just put that on a part of the plant that's
I'll let you. The plant is
getting
there.
a good conductivity.
Plant whisperer.
Yeah, so the trick is like you want to find where it's got good water retention, where there's water, electricity is able to flow through it.
Yeah,
So probably down the stem, maybe.
So on a stem or something like that. So
I'll get you.
And so just to explain to people a bit about how it works, it connects to an app. So you connect the app to this device, and then you're able to manipulate the sounds and change things. So if I want to harmonize it with the singing bowls, I can do that.
Wow.
If I want to change it to go with one of the equilibrium chimes that I have, which is in a different key and tuning, I can do that.
So you can change pitch,
change the
EQ
tuning, pitch, everything. Yeah. And you can go in and do modulation of arpeggios and all this different stuff. Yeah, it has lots of parameters.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's fun.
We're gonna have
to. Yeah, it gets creative, because once you set up the sounds and the sort of, again, you're playing part in the creation. It's like, ooh, okay, I'm gonna set these parameters and see what happens.
Yeah.
And then you just tune it in, and it's like, whoa, I can hear now.
Fantastic.
It's not just this sound or that sound. There's things moving, and you can see how the different voices are kind of working together.
What we're gonna do is I'm gonna use your microphone as well.
Yeah,
to
sure.
pop it on the actual. Oh, it's gonna come out of your phone, not that.
This will go through the app.
Yeah.
Exciting.
You to get disturbed by people.
So you just pop your headphones in as well.
You can do that, or you can get a couple of massive speakers and blast them coming out of your front lawn.
You can do that.
The neighbors love it.
I wouldn't mind.
So yeah, pick a bank. There's lots to choose from. They add new ones pretty regularly.
So is it who actually created this, or
I created some of them, but most of them are coming from the designers, the developers.
I'm going to do Ancient Future.
Oh, that's deep.
I'm a deep sort of person.
It's ancient.
But it's the future. So up here, you can either simulate plant wave device. So if you don't have it, you don't have a plant to hook it up to, you can still
you can simulate it. Okay.
Simulate it. Let's connect via Bluetooth.
So that's actually...
So it's a 440 hertz C pentatonic major.
So the trigger's coming from the plant. That's where it's coming from, yeah?
It is picking up on the bioelectrical magnetic frequencies of the plant. It's running through the plant. It's connecting that electricity, taking it in and putting it into music.
Fantastic.
So that's the sensor. And that's the machine that's creating the music. So things are just going to like come in and out.
It's probably saying, I know you guys are listening to me.
Feed me. I haven't been watered in days. I'm thirsty.
I thought it was going to say more like, oh, thanks for inviting me on this podcast.
I'd like to thank plant number 3.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. We've never had a plant on the podcast. So.
That's true. I am the healthiest in the world.
That's fantastic.
That's magical.
That's magical.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can hook this up to speakers and just have this like creating this beautiful sonorous wall of sound.
Can you hook up
and
multiple?
Then it becomes silent and then it comes back in. So it really it gives you those quiet moments to reflect as well sometimes.
So it's like he or she or they or them, whatever the plant identifies as, is creating a mess or saying a sentence and then taking a little breather and then creating a new sentence. Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, because there might be a minor solar flare that hit and it became more active for a while.
So we can hear what you're talking about.
And then, you might have watered it.
Oh, yeah.
And then it did something else.
So can you hook up different plants?
Yeah.
Would that give it a different effect, or is that...
There's a way to hook up multiple plant waves.
When that's done, does it work on its own sort of electrical current, or does the current start being the one out of all the plants, like a pendulum?
I'm not sure.
That's something we can experiment with.
I want one.
They're cool.
I want one.
They're very cool. There's something that you could just have around the house when you're doing laundry and stuff, and it's just nice background sounds that's evolving and ovulating. And did I just make up a word? Ovulating? That's a new one.
Ovulating.
I said ovulating.
Well, we've come up with a phrase. Well, I'm not come up with a phrase. It's about finessing the flow.
Yeah, but they're not new words, though.
It doesn't matter. We can create. It's a new phrase. We can create.
Yes.
Ebulating.
It's very close.
I might trash that one.
Yeah.
It probably won't last more than a week.
Yeah.
Right? There's like a
close.
The birth thing.
It's getting ready for...
Plant is ovulating.
Yeah, it's getting ready to plant the seed or something.
Ebulating.
Look, we're creating here. We're going past the zone of known.
Yes. And we've got the music to prove it.
That's right. These devices can be purchased, right?
Yeah, you can pick them up online, I think.
We'll pop all the stuff on the podcast and stuff like that, and all the links and all your links as well. Your journey from the States to here, was it a musical one?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I came here to study and go back to uni. So it was for music that I kind of came here, but also for style of
different,
change of lifestyle and change of scenery, everything.
Do you enjoy Melbourne?
Absolutely. This place is home for right now. I've enjoyed living here for a decade. It's a beautiful city. The surrounding areas are beautiful. I love many of the national parks around here. Victoria is a really special place. I'm honored to be here and calling this place home.
Do you find that your shift to here, did you find that you integrated quite quickly? Because coming to a new country and being a musician can sometimes be a bit hard. You can feel a bit anxious. And how did you find the transition to, were the Melburnians good to you? How was that transition?
I have remained largely out of the sort of mainstream scene, I think, of the music.
Mm-hmm.
When I first got here, I was writing a lot and creating a new style of music for myself to play. It was combining different things that I loved that I hadn't heard before. And I started working with the singer, and we hit it off. We had some really nice gigs, but I never played anything that was like getting me into the real current flow of everything that's happening. So I kind of played smaller gigs, and
there's nothing wrong with that though. Nothing wrong with that.
Well, I think for me it was really back then about honing my craft with production. And performance wasn't my mainstay. It wasn't my focus. But I was still doing it, still loving it. And Melbourne's got so many great places to play at, and there's so many beautiful theaters and places to play music. So I got to play in some of them, and the beginning of it all was me playing in a band that was opening up for some really like famous old Aussie bands. And I got to play at a festival from Armidale, New South Wales, coming over here to play this gig. And seeing Melbourne from this point of view. Coming here for a weekend to play these gigs. Pseudo Echo was the main.
Oh no, Pseudo.
Pseudo Echo was headlining and hung out with Pseudo Echo. That was a great experience. The band, everyone was so great, and I thought, I might come back to Melbourne one day. And
Here
so
you are.
I did. I came back.
Fantastic.
I loved it.
With your, I suppose, with your journey and everything, what's at this point in time, what is the thing that you're working on at the moment? I know you do sound healing and everything, but is there a project, or is there something that you're working on at this point in time?
I've always got projects going. I have 2 different meditation courses I'm working on. One is Awakening the Heart of the Buddha within. Another one is about supercharging your mornings, finding ways to bring so much intentional power into your morning that you are just blissed out.
It's so important.
By that time you hit into, okay, time to start the day mode. Fantastic. So that's what this one's about.
I'm actually interested in that one.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I love starting off the morning.
Supercharge your mornings. That's what I want. I want to make sure all my mornings get supercharged with that delicious energy of I'm alive and I've got just today to do it. Let's do this.
Yeah.
That's the moment. That's living in the moment.
So I got those things. I'm recording, and I'm doing a special treatment for the sound to accompany it. There's going to be a strong sound healing element to that, to those courses. And I'm doing lots of live events. Channeling for chakra alignment all the way to emotional release and different body stuff. So working in different yoga studios around Melbourne, outdoors, different sort of places like spas.
Outdoors where you love to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the potential of combining the outdoors and sound healing is such a amazing combo, because again, like just being out there and breathing that air in, it does something to you that's really profound. And then you put the sound healing on top of that. You know,
love it.
Put that in the oven now.
I love it.
Bake it. So yeah, it's about that stuff for me as well, being active in this area, and hopefully a tour later this year.
See, that'll be good.
I'd love to do a couple-month tour of up the coast and back down.
It's always up the coast, the beach.
Lots of places to go to.
Yeah.
Stay connected to the ocean all the way up.
Oh, beautiful.
It's fantastic.
And with my body art, you know, I love to work with people on projects for them to find expression.
That's
with
right.
With their form, with their bodies, and the emotional dilemma at hand, whatever it may be. If it's anything to do with the body or anything, it can be channeled through the art that gets matched and meshed with your body. So I like to work with people on this, and that's for me really fun. Just so much fun to work on a project there where someone wants to express themselves, and I'm painting their whole body and using props maybe, and
it's fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've seen some of the pictures. They're fantastic. It's
Yeah.
another art form in itself. Really, it's really
because I love to
powerful,
draw, and
profound,
I
yeah.
used to love creating visual art all the time, and then that kind of got shifted into music at one point.
Yeah.
I did that less, so it's been an absolute blessing to be able to make a living off of it too.
I'll let you interject
No,
here.
it's interesting you just brought that up. We were literally talking about the same thing, how I used to do a lot of art, and it's definitely shifted to the music now. That exactly the sentence you just spoke about it
before you came.
Yeah.
We were just talking about it. It's like, hey, your focus. You need to be very focused within the app, because it takes a lot of energy and a lot of time.
And it's the different, like the shifting of the gears of the mind. Like, I have many jobs, I have many roles, so within a day I may be shifting gears like 5-6 times, and that is for me the most taxing mental activity that I'm doing most of the time. On most days, that's it, because shifting those gears and thinking in a different way, putting on that different hat and going the different modes, it does take a lot of energy.
Even thinking about it sometimes gives you anxiety.
I'm thinking right now I want a nap.
Oh, look, nap time is all the time.
All the time, that's right. Elliott, thanks so much for being on the podcast. Thanks so much for
thank you
for taking your time out and coming and giving us this great insight and showing how plant wave works and telling us about your journey.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really insightful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We're very grateful. But you're gonna do a bit of a soundscape for us.
Yeah, I'm gonna just show you how this device can be combined with an instrument to bring you into a sense of presence and being with these sounds in particular. It's by creating this, you like it's an accompaniment. So it's like my buddy.
It's like a loop pedal.
I get to play with my buddy here. A loop pedal, a companion. So it's fun to just let that play and then come in with another instrument and see where it goes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
No, thank you.
It's a pleasure, definitely, having you here.
This is what I mentioned.
Yes, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Cake Eclipse, for this beautiful vegan cake
Yum.
and musicproservices.com
for all your producing and tuition and mentoring and coaching and guiding and all of that beautiful stuff. Sharing. Caring.
Gift.
Elliott, thank you so much. And we're going to listen to you quite shortly. Until next time, ciao. The Strike a Chord podcast, presented to you by valentinoflamenco.com and amlamusic.com.